Morning or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the biology lecture. This is Dr. Nepal, biology and honors biology and AP biology teacher. So this lecture can be utilized in biology and also in honors biology and for the ninth graders and also by other graders. They'll just learn a little bit more. And also if the parents want to learn, right? So I will try to make learning with the fun and interest. So I have tried to bring some live plants to make it very interesting. So if you go to garden or anywhere, start seeing the nature, you will learn biology. I always tell my students, biology is very easy, okay? So when you don't get answers, look outside from the window. You will see outside the environment, the plants, animal, and all the things, and then yourself, your body. So your body is a book too. So today is the lecture is about the plant. So let's learn about the plant. And I will try to share the screen also that I have the information. Let's do. So they are also living organisms, right? Just like the other organisms, plants are living organisms, just like the bacteria, fungi, and protists, right? And they have also level of organization. They have plant cells, tissue, and the systems. So they also have to adapt to their environment to maintain their homeostasis, like just like us. And they have special structure to survive in the diverse condition, right? Like you can see some cactus, and they conserve some water, and their plant is made up of in that way, right? So, and then let's see, and they have in their body system, we can divide as the shoot system and the root system, okay? The shoot system, you can see here, is a shoot system, right? The upper part without the root. And the root system, you can see here the tiny roots. This is the root system, and they have a special function, right? In this plant, if you go outside and find some plant and try to see here leaves, right? And then you can find the nodes, and the apical bud is always on the top. This is called the blade, right? And the node, and you can match this picture when you try to find, and it's not on every plant, it is very clear. In some plant, it shows the birds coming out also. And the leaf you already saw, right? And the stem, the thick part is the stem. And roots, you can see lateral root and primary root. If you talk about the root, the longer one is the primary root, and the coming from the side is called lateral. And the lateral, so it's lateral, it's right, pretty easy. And the next is that you can see in the plant, they have flowers, right? Fruit, and the seed, leaves. And this is the stem. We already this. And the root system also has roots, tubers, and rhizomes. These are the different type of the roots they have, okay? So I can show you in the plant. I got one mustard plant. Okay, I got the mustard plant just like their flower, and mustard plant makes the tiny mustards. These are the mustard fruit, right? Or these are the seeds also. And then here are the leaves. Tiny birds are coming from here, right? And the roots. So plants are also surviving, sure, are like we are surviving. What do we need to survive, right? In the same way, they also need the similar thing. What they need to survive, they need sunlight, right? You can see outside, then you know, they also need water and minerals, right? With the sunlight, they do photosynthesis. And all the cells require constant supply of water, right? And the minerals, how they get it? They get the minerals from the soil. That's why you need to put some fertilizers and some minerals in the soil, right? So, and gas exchange, they also do the gas exchange, right? And they do photosynthesis and respiration. And plants take up water and minerals with their roots, and but make food in the leaves. So from where they take the water? They take the water from the roots, right? Root takes the water, it goes up, and leaves in the presence of sunlight, they make their food, right? And what's the food for the plant? You know, right? They make glucose, right? So here is a typically explained about the root, the enlarged picture. Now you can see here as there, the main root, lateral roots, and the hairy roots. So at the top of the root, there's a cap-like structure. It is called the root cap. So what are the function of root? What they do? They absorb the water and minerals from the soil, right? And they also do the storage of starches, and so they catch the ground so that they can stay there anchored into the ground, and they store the starch. You can see in a potato and some radish, and they store the food, right? And this is the carrot, right? Actually, starch is present more in potato, and some like a sweet potato and called taro and those things. What are the function of a stem then? Like stem also have their own function, isn't that right? Stem have their function. So what they do? They do transfer of the water and minerals, glucose throughout the plant, and they support the leaves because the leaves are on that. They're just like a big pillar. And also the flowers in storage of nutrients. They also do some storage. So you can see here about the stem, right? Internode means in between these two nodes. This is called a node, like here also. You can see one node and one node. In between is internode. And petiole and the leaf, the lower part of the leaf, you can call it petiole. And here are the nodes and internodes. You got it, right? Then, what is the function of leaf? So, we already told in the presence of sunlight, they take sunlight, right? In the presence of sunlight, they take carbon dioxide and the water from the stem, and they produce some glucose to the photosynthesis, and also they give us oxygen, right? So it's better to have a lot of plants around you because they give oxygen, right? So this is the photosynthesis. And here you may still remember in your chemistry and some chapter you studied about photosynthesis, right? So what are the ingredients needed for photosynthesis? You need, if they have the question like that, you can tell they need carbon dioxide and water. How many they need? I remembered from my childhood always. I remember 6, and 1 is the multiplication of 6, right? So carbon dioxide and water, H2O, is 6. The glucose is a bigger molecule, so it's C6H12O6 and 6O2. Pretty easy. Now you remember the reaction, right? So if you go from right to left, that becomes a respiration reaction. That's why sometimes you have to study in couple, in a pair, right? So pretty easy. Is there anything difficult? No, right? Once you listen to this lecture, you go outside, find a plant, and just analyze. You're done with the plant chapter. And so we already told in the presence of light energy. And now we come with the flower. So the beautiful flower. So here, the different parts of the flower, the function of the flower, they do reproduction, right? See here? And why they're so attractive. The flowers are so attractive, right? All the flowers are very attractive. Why? Because they have to attract the pollinators, right? See, all the flowers are so beautiful and So in this flower, to see like this, you have to get the flower like a tulip or another kind of the flower. You can still see the different part of the flower. So these are the called like this yellow small are called the petal. And there is in the middle is called the pollen tube. It's very small in this mustard plant. You can have a little bigger plant to look. And then in another video, when I will teach you about the reproduction of the plant, I'll try to get bigger plant. And then around them is a stamina. It's the male part. This is the female part. There is a pollen tube, and these are called the filament. And the sticky thing yellow are called the anther. And below the plant, the greenish thing is called the sepal. And if you go down to here, you'll see the ovule, just like a human. And it's called receptacle. And they have also ovary. And all this part is female part is called the pistil. And the male part is called, this is called the stamen. Okay. Now again, come to the root. Root have the different structures, right? We can take this like the example. See here, you can see here root hairs, the hair like a structure, and you can divide the root into the different zone, right? Root hairs, it increases the surface area for water absorption, right? Those hairy root, they increase the surface area and they do the water absorption. Hairy root. And then zone of maturation, cells get a specific job, right? They mature, and zone of elongation, increase in size, and apical meristem, where they divide so rapidly, and the root cap pushes the plant into the soil. So if you can make 5 questions from here, what's the function of root here? Root here, they increase the water for absorption, right? And what they do, zone of maturation, they have specific job. Elongation means the increases. Apical meristem, rapid divide, and root cap pushes down. So where is the rapid divide zone? Just above the root cap. So through this root cap, it goes inside and dig to the soil, and it gets all the nutrients. So structure of stem again. In the stem, so you can see xylem and phloem if you see microscope. So it's just like a two-way traffic now. So xylem, it takes all the water to up, and then phloem, it takes the food down. So xylem and phloem. If you just remember one, and the opposite is the phloem. So when you have to study anything in pair, try to remember one thing. So who takes the water up? X, Y, xylem, right? Then it flows down, phloem, right? So can you remember now? Yes, so if you have the question and if you have matching question or say, what are the difference between xylem and phloem and what they do? Xylem takes the nutrients and water up and phloem brings the prepared food. It's look like in the kitchen, the food is ready, then it's function of phloem, it breaks down and you need the ingredient to the kitchen to make the food. Kitchen is just like our kitchen is the what part of the plant? That's leaf, right? C, it is to transfer water mineral up and phloem brings the glucose to down. Leaf, let's see the leaf structure. There are different types of the leaf, right? So, oh, you can even see a bug on this. Oh, it's like a, what's that called? Oh, it's like a snail, like a bug you can see in my leaf, right? Okay, so this is the leaf. And the upper waxy part is called the cuticle, waxy layer, which prevent the water loss, just like we have some keratin in our skin to prevent the water loss. And palisade layer, light reaction of photosynthesis. And then spongy layer, where the Calvin cycle stores carbon dioxide, spongy layer. And the lower is epidermis, where lets the carbon dioxide and oxygen in and out. So here is some stomata. What the stomata? They are the tiny holes, right? You're gonna see the beautiful leaf here. So this is the leaf. And now again, the structure of an idealized flower. We already talked about it, the flower. In different flower, it's different. You can see the same thing in all. In this rose flower, I can see, you can still see the petal, sepal here. There's a sepal, right? And the receptacle is where the thicker zone here. And then anthrax are in this flower. Anthrax are the fine granule-like thing in a rose flower. So the surrounding here is anthrax, male part, and the filament, and stigma, style, and ovary. They are female part. Stamen is the male, and this carpel is a female part. Okay, so this part looks like different in different flowers. Again, anther, filament, and the petal. Anther produces the pollen. Here also I can see some pollen. These are some pollen. I don't know, I can show you guys or not. And if you can see clearly, there are anthrax and some pollen. And they are male gametes, right? Sex cells, so remember this. So they are haploid. Haploid means what? Haploid, single, okay? Single chromosome, okay? Haploid and diploid, right? Has a two. Now, it's the same thing, stigma, style, ovary, ovule, anthrax, right? So pistil is the female part of the flower. So female part of the flower is called what? If you have multiple choice questions or fill in the gap, is the pistil. So female part of the flower, and it has a sticky top. In this, the sticky top part is called where the pollen ends here. It's called the sticky part, top of the flower, and transport the pollen to the ovary is the style. So here the anthrax drops with the help of some wind or some insects like a butterfly or bee. So anthrax, the pollen drops here and it goes inside. And ovary is the female organ which produces female gametes, right? And ovule has a female egg. It's just like in human. So when they get pollinated. So here now again we talk about the root adaptation in the environment. So fibrous root, when you see hair-like roots, you call it fibrous root. I think I got some fibrous root and other root. Hairy structure root is called the fibrous root. They're thick, you can see in the grass like that. I had the grass like that, but I didn't bring anything. And like in the radish, like a taproot. So this is similar to the radish, is carrot. So it's the taproot, right? And also the turnip. They're modified to reach water. Taproot, they grow long and deep to reach water below, right? So, and fibrous, they branch root system close to the surface and they absorb the water. And they are also modified to store starch, okay, like you see in turnip and radish and potato like that. And but this is the carrot. You know what does carrot has? Carrot has a lot of vitamin A, right? Now is the section of the root when you see in microscope. So this is the water root here. It just kind of the model we can say, okay? It's a model only, not in the microscope, okay? Root here, so root here it goes. And root cell, if you see enlace, and soil particle is here. So they absorb the water. And here you see a piece of celery. So if you have celery at home, you can cut and see those, which are the conducting tissues. Again, what are the adaptation to the environment from the root, right? So stiff cell wall for trunks, these are the adaptation to the environment by the plant, okay? So the trunks and branches and dead xylem becomes the wood on the inside of the trunk. So xylem and phloem, right? Xylem is the part which takes water where? Up or down, right? And it becomes what? The wood part of the inside of the tree trunks. When you see the big tree trunks, okay, when you see the big tree trunks, the xylem becomes the wood part. And two, it can be modified to store the foods, tuberous, potato, and bulbs, onions. Root was modified here like this. Exchange of gas through the stomata. So again, it's about the leaf. So how the gas is exchanged in a leaf. So when you see leaf in a microscope, there are the tiny holes. The upper layer is still called upper layer, and the palisade layer, and then spongy layer, and the lower layer, which are the stomata, from where the gas exchange occurs. So again, the adaptation of the plant to the environment. It is so hot, you see thick cuticle in dry climates. If you go to Grand Canyon, and if you go from Las Vegas to Grand Canyon, when I went there, you have to drive for 3 or 4 hours, and it's a very dry environment, the desert over there. You can see some plants like this cactus, and they're very thick cuticle, right? And few stomata to prevent water loss. So water loss happens through the stomata. So their stem, or it's part of the leaves, are very thick, reduced surface area to prevent water loss. So cactus, so they're slender, right? So their surface area has become less to prevent water loss. So what they do to adapt, they have thick cuticle, their cuticle is thick, they are slender, and they have fewer stomata. This is about, again, the stomata, right? And the surrounding cells are called the guard cells. In the leaf, you see the stomata and the guard cells. It is the chloroplast. You can see in the leaf, right? The greenish thing. And when they do not want to lose water, they close the opening. And when they want to do the gas exchange, they open. So stomata, opening in leaf to allow gas exchange. So where the stomata are located? They are located in the leaf. What they do? They do the gas exchange, we just told. And the guard cells, they regulate the opening of the stomata. It's just like the valve, right? So as we have different valve in our body, and also in your faucet, they have the valve. So the valve, it closes. When the valve closes, there's no exchange, and the valve opens, then gas exchange, right? So who controls the gas exchange and the moisture exchange? The guard cells, okay? They help the opening and closing of stomata. That's all for the introduction of the plant. So after going through these slides, I wanna go and quickly again review you guys with the plants only over here. So we already told the plants, just a quick summary, the shoot system and the root system, right? And in the shoot, they have leaves, right? And the nodes, these are called the internode. This is the trunk. And the top apical bud, right? And in the root, you can see the hairy lateral root. And this is the main root, right? And the flowers, you can see when you talk about the flowers, the anthrax is the male part, and there's the ovary, and that's the female part, right? And why some of the flowers are so bright? Because they want to attract the pollinators, right? And if you talk about defense mechanism, see, this plant also has defense mechanism, this prickly thorns, right? And I found In another plant, this is the barley plant, and I never wonder why they have spines like this, needle-like. I never thought. Now I realize why they have is because it's the barley, it's the grain, right? Maybe birds they like to eat, or the insect. So they have this thing. So when they go to eat, it will prick them. So it is. I even did not see any worms on it, and then birds do not come to eat this. That's what I found. And right, and again, leaf, right? And you see how beautifully the fruit is made. So first it gives some flowers, and then from there it becomes a fruit. It's the peach tree, part of the peach tree, okay? And if you see in a mustard leaf, these are the mustard fruit and mustard flower. So it's very interesting, okay? You just need to go to garden and see different type of the flowers and analyze, and you just need to know what's the stomata, different part of the leaf, right? And when they have different type of adaptations, root and shoot, everything. And when the root, sometimes they adapt, they store the food like this, okay? So that's all. So if you want to see more of explanation about the plant in the garden, I can try to make that video also. If you like it, keep on watching, and remember and share with other friends. It doesn't matter you are a student or anybody, you can still learn. So biology, you can learn everywhere. So science, you can learn everywhere, whether you are at home or garden or anywhere. It's easy to learn. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Keep on learning.